But it irks Akila to watch her clients go back to Auntie. There is no way that Akila's braids are lesser or her attitude so annoying. No way that the witch's thin fingers and slow movements are worth it. She sucks her teeth and pulls out her wallet. Auntie takes the money delicately, folding it up and putting it in her jeans. She gestures with her head toward a folding chair propped up against the couch. Why don't you take that seat, Akila, honey, while I go get my product? She turns and starts walking towards the back of the apartment. You're not tender-headed now, are you? Auntie stands up while doing hair with Akila in the seat so she can keep watching her shows, she explains. She takes her time, starting running her hands through Akila's hair as she decides how to tackle it. Akila reluctantly admits that this process feels nice. When Auntie parts her hair into sections with a rat tail comb, the the air from the fan hitting Akila's scalp. When Auntie starts applying grease to the parts, it's a strange sensation for Akila to not lift her arms to try to do it herself. What kind of grease is that? Akila wants to twist around and look at the jar. Before she gets a chance, Auntie pauses and passes it over. It's in a small Tupperware. Oh, it's some homemade stuff. I mix all my products myself, Auntie answers casually, sometimes from scratch, sometimes with store products as a base. It's better, I think. Lets people know I care. Akila sniffs at the Tupperware to hide the fact that she makes a face. She strives to parse the smells. At first, it's just hair grease, but then other scents follow. Not quite floral, but a bouquet nonetheless. 7, 8 smells at once that Akila wants to differentiate between, like potpourri and dried orange slices, and suddenly cinnamon. And then there's another tug from Auntie N. She's 8 years old, and Akila's nostrils are filled with the smell of a hot comb, all too close to her head. She eyes the tool with all the distrust that it's owed as it heats on the stove, the metal surrounded by blue and orange flame. Her head, she knows, is prepped for it, sprayed with heat protection after a wash. Still, prep does not make this pleasant. Prep still means that hot, hot metal's gonna touch her hair. Come on, Lala, up. Her mama pats the kitchen stool, and Akila obliges. She sits as still as possible, but still at 8, it's hard. 8-year-old energy in a hot comb doesn't make for best friends. Out of the corner of her eye, she sees Mama test the hot comb's temperature and hiss. There we are. Okay now. Akila's older brother comes dashing into the kitchen. He's 18 and too old, Akila thinks, to run around the way he does. Jamal, Mama hisses again, although this time it's not from the heat. Akila does, though, yelping as her hand rushes up to feel the new burn along her edges. Her eyes start to blur with tears as the tender skin stings. She sniffles, and Mama curses as she puts down the comb. I'm gonna need you to put the brakes on in my kitchen, making me burn your sister's head. Akila frowns deeply in Jamal's direction. He's blurry, but she can see he barely reacts, having already stopped running. He certainly doesn't look like Akila. I need some money. You need some sense. Just $40, Jamal counters. I don't have it, Mama says in a way that means I'm not giving it to you. And even at 8, Akila understands that. Jamal's eyes light up something fierce and angry with an expression that Akila always thought looked too much like an adult on him. What do you mean, Ma? I need it. You don't need. Yeah, I do, he yells and slams his hand against the washer so hard that Akila jumps in place. She didn't understand why Mama did this. Didn't just didn't just give Jamal what he wanted when he acted like this. Now he's gonna yell and slam things, and Mama will join in, and maybe she'll give him the $40 eventually, or maybe she doesn't, and he leaves the house in a huff again. Either way, if Mama just did it, they didn't have to do this. He wouldn't run and all ready to fight about it, and maybe Akila's forehead wouldn't. Ow! Akila winces. Auntie stops braiding. When had she started? Something wrong, honey? Akila reaches a hand to her forehead, confused by the lack of heat, but she realizes there's no burn there either. It's been a long time since she last used a hot comb, and even longer since she used one with Jamal in the house. For a second, she'd been burned fresh, her mom and Jamal's voices loud and sharp in her ears, as her feet dangled on that stool. But her feet touch the floor now, and all Auntie is doing is braiding. Akila doesn't even recall handing back the grease. But that, too, is gone. She glances back to look at Auntie. What did you do?